Welcome to Season 5 of the Agile Brand with Greg Kihlstrom, where we talk with enterprise and technology platform leaders about the people, processes, and platforms that make marketing and customer experience successful, scalable, and sustainable. This is what creates an Agile brand. I'm your host, Greg Kihlstrom, advisor and consultant for Fortune 1000 marketing and CX leaders and teams as principal and chief strategist at GK5A, and best-selling author, keynote speaker, entrepreneur, and Agile certified coach. The Agile Brand podcast is brought to you by TEKsystems, an industry leader in full-stack technology services, talent services, and real-world application. For more information, go to teksystems.com. To sign up for the Agile Brand newsletter and get the latest insights and articles on marketing technology and CX, or to purchase a copy of my latest book, House of the Customer, go to gregkihlstrom.com. You can also find all my books on Amazon and other retailers. And now on to the show. Welcome to a special episode of the show brought to you in partnership with Arlington Economic Development, where we discuss issues related to the workforce, the role of place in the future of work, and the role of the creative sector in a larger business context. We call this return on creativity. Today, we're going to talk about the partnership between businesses and their location and the benefits of partnership. To help me discuss this topic, I'd like to welcome Michael Steifvater, Acting Director, Business Investment at Arlington Economic Development. Michael, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks for having me today. Excited to be here.
Yeah, looking forward to talking about this with you. So why don't we get started by you giving a little background on yourself as well as what you're currently doing at Arlington Economic Development.
Sure. So I've been with Arlington Economic Development for going on 6 years this August. I started out working on our commercial real estate development group, focusing on the retail sector here in Arlington, helping to do market studies and looking at development plans along one of our upcoming transportation corridors along the Columbia Pike corridor. So working on that project for about 2 years, I've since transitioned to our business investment group. I was a team of about 10 folks. Our primary role is to represent the county in dealings with large corporations and entrepreneurs that are looking at office space in the county. Really, our mission is to drive the economy here and to help generate tax revenue via commercial real estate, as well as taxes on gross receipts. The combination there is, it allows the county to support different things in the community, from parks to schools and a lot of other great amenities that make Arlington one of the top 5 places to live based on which metrics you're looking at. So really, our team and our job here at the Business Investment Group, which I now am in the acting director role as of about a year, our role really is to engage companies and decision makers from outside the market who may want to look at Arlington as a great place to open a new office or to move their headquarters to. Our team has worked on deals that range from the biggest economic development projects that you see in the country, like Amazon HQ2, which just opened the first phase of their project here last week officially, down to 1 or 2 person locations who are looking to maybe be in a co-working space and kind of have their first presence perhaps in the United States if you're in Europe, or a startup entrepreneur from a home-based business looking to transition into their first space. So really, it runs the gamut from the smallest companies to the largest companies. And, we work closely with both of them when they decide to either locate in Arlington or to grow here.
Great. So let's start by talking about the importance of recognizing local businesses' contributions to the economy and the community landscapes in which they reside. Here in Arlington County, last month, May, was Business Appreciation Month, which gives Arlington Economic Development a chance to do just that. First, can you talk a little bit about what is Business Appreciation Month here, and what does it consist of, and why does Arlington Economic Development, or AED, focus on this?
Yeah, May throughout kind of the economic development world, both in Virginia, Arlington, and elsewhere around the country, is typically Business Appreciation Month. So you'll see a variety of different programs and events and ways to recognize small businesses and just companies at large throughout the month. So Arlington's no different on that front. In Arlington, Business Appreciation Month has been an important kind of component of our business retention expansion program. So typically in an economic development organization, there's going to be different sectors or programs that they're operating. One is on the business attraction front, as I mentioned, working on kind of an Amazon relocation type deal, or Nestle, for example, also relocated their headquarters here in Arlington. That's kind of on the business attraction front. Another key component is business retention expansion, which really focuses on how do we get to know the businesses that are operating here in our community, and more importantly, how do we provide them with resources and tools that can help them grow, how they can hire employees, how they can grow the revenues, how they can be successful here in our community. So our Business Appreciation Month launched a new program in 2022. They kind of repurposed our efforts during the month to allow us to engage with key companies in the office sector, ranging from our largest employers to fast-growing technology companies who maybe had recently raised venture capital, as an example. The goal of the month was to go out and show them, thanks for being here in Arlington, for choosing to do business here. Obviously, companies, especially in the modern economy, can be very transient and can choose from a variety of great locations around the country and the world to operate. So we want to thank them for choosing Arlington to do that. It's kind of the first avenue. Second, we really want to sit down with the companies, understand the challenges they're having. That may be hiring specific roles within their organization. It may be accessing capital. It may be something like permitting issues. So our team wants to understand that, and then more importantly, once we know the problems or issues they're having, how do we connect them with valuable resources, whether that's internally at Arlington Economic Development, then Arlington County Government, or if it's through our partners at organizations like the Virginia Economic Development Office, the tremendous higher education institutions we have around Arlington and the region, including George Mason, Virginia Tech, Marymount University, and others. We just want to make sure that the companies know these resources are out there. We're all here to help them, and we can kind of tackle the challenges together. The Arlington Business Appreciation Month Visit program allowed us to visit 40 Arlington-based companies, again, ranging from small entrepreneurs all the way to some of our biggest corporations. The visits consist of about an hour-long meeting with the companies, our team at Arlington Economic Development, and our business ambassadors from some of the groups I mentioned before. This allows us to have an open discussion and really connect companies with the resources. And we've seen some great outcomes from the program over 2022 and now 2023.
Yeah. So you touched on this a little bit, but why is something like Business Appreciation Month so important to those local businesses?
Yeah. I think it's important to them as the companies here, doing their daily business. They're going through identifying customers, hiring folks, and all the things that go into running a business. So this kind of gives them just a pause that Arlington County specifically recognizes the great work they're doing, recognizes the value they're providing to the region. And it's not just in the tax revenue that allows us to support park and other programs. So the fact that they're hiring our residents, they're investing in the community as well in terms of the real estate and the folks they're hiring. It's really just the first is let's say thanks for being here. I think companies do appreciate hearing from us and hearing from our elected leaders that they mean a lot to the community. The second is they gain value out of the visits as well as some of the other program we do around it. They are able to meet in a very succinct manner several resource partners who can help them with finding graduates or other folks in the workforce who may be hard to find or hard to hire jobs. It's just kind of a one-stop shop for them to do this, which is great when they're very busy doing their day-to-day operations. They may not have the time or bandwidth to find these resources and then figure out how to utilize them. We hopefully make that easy for them by bringing those folks to their door and giving them a warm introduction to allow them to do that.
Before we continue, I want to tell you about the upcoming AI4 2023 conference, August 7 through 9 in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand. AI4 2023 brings together business leaders and data practitioners to facilitate the responsible adoption of artificial intelligence and machine learning technology. The conference features leaders from brands like Amazon, JP Morgan Chase, CVS, Estee Lauder Companies, UPS, New York Life Insurance, United Healthcare, and many more. While it's not specifically for marketers and CX professionals, there are plenty of topics both directly and indirectly related to the work you do every day. To learn more and register for the conference, go to ai4.io/USA/register. That's ai4.io/USA/register. And you can register with the code AgileBrand for 15% off your registration. That's AgileBrand, all one word. I'm excited to hear from this amazing lineup of speakers and thought leaders and hope to see you in Las Vegas. Make sure to register at ai4.io/USA/register with the code AgileBrand for 15% off your registration. Now let's get back to the show.
And so certainly that the month of May, Business Appreciation Month, offers a lot of opportunities as you described. Beyond that, what are some of the things that AED offers companies that are located in the county?
Yeah, AED offers a lot of different services. It's not just through my team on the business investment group. I also certainly want to shout out our Biz Launch team, which is our small business entrepreneur network. We have 4 staff members on that team, and they do a tremendous amount of work, really working with the earliest residents or other folks who are at the earliest stage of forming a business. They provide a lot of great guidance on how you can just the very basics of coming up with an idea for a business, making sure it's viable, making sure there's a customer base to allow you to have a successful business. They'll work with you through getting your legal documents in order, making sure you have the proper permits, the tax filings at the state and local levels, all the way through kind of helping you market your business and landing those initial customers. So that team does a tremendous amount of work, both in one-on-one counseling as well as different events they do throughout the year. So they're an award-winning program. It's been in operation for a while here. Is a tremendous asset to our team. On the business investment group, the Biz Launch team focuses on a variety of industries, including retail and office-using businesses, while BIG focuses exclusively on office-using tenants. So on our side, a lot of things that we work on are, again, we do a lot of one-on-one outreach throughout the year. Me and my colleagues will identify companies, whether they've hired, a large number of employees recently, whether they've received venture capital, whether they've won an award. And that allows us to identify these companies, reach out to them, and have a meeting to learn about their presence in Arlington and how we can assist them. We also do, beyond just kind of individual one-on-one outreach, which obviously has a limited bandwidth, given we have a 4-person business development team plus a director, so 5 people really doing those kind of one-on-one meetings. Given the number of companies in Arlington, it's obviously impossible for us to cover all of that ground with just the 5 of us. We also do convening. We'll do networking events on a regular basis where we'll either do that by industry to get folks together in the tech industry, to get together in the aerospace and defense industry, or whatever it might be. We also do a lot of partnering with different organizations to host similar events. We're a sponsor of an organization called DCA Live, who hosts networking events for red hot companies. Those could be entrepreneurs, those could be associations. So really trying to magnify our small team and partner with folks in the community to provide valuable networking and educational opportunities.
Yeah. And so you mentioned several different types of companies, everything from technology to associations to retail and others. So, that's a lot of different kinds of companies. Can you talk a little bit about just the value of that diversity in businesses? So in other words, it's not just one kind, it's a lot. I know it's a lot for small teams to really, to address all at once, but can you talk a little bit about the value of the diversity of businesses?
Yeah, Arlington County's, in terms of the diversity of the type of business, Arlington has really been a model nationally for growth. The metro corridors here were designed several decades ago to go underground, and that really allowed Arlington to develop naturally along the metro lines, which has created a very robust urban environment. During the pandemic, I think the fruits of this were born in kind of the diversity of the retail on the ground floor, the office on the upper levels, and the other businesses throughout the county. During the pandemic, I think some other downtown districts really struggled with the dearth of residents being located in those areas. And you'd see a lot of the retail shops struggle about the daytime traffic. From what we heard from companies and real estate brokers who had toured the area during the pandemic is that Arlington showed either the best in the region or usually kind of the best neighborhoods in the region throughout the pandemic. Due to that diversity of businesses in one location, it really allowed the retail to thrive with the residential density nearby, as well as now the corporations are starting to come back into the office somewhat. And you're seeing a lot of great foot traffic in these neighborhoods. So really that strong mix is kind of a core identity of Arlington, really makes us a thriving community.
Yeah. And so you touched on this as well, but, as we continue to move away from pandemic times and, all of the changes that brought and some things are returning and as some things are changed and maybe forever changed, but what do you see that businesses are wanting more from an organization like Arlington Economic Development?
Yeah, it certainly depends on, I guess, which industry you're in. It's probably what service, but I think, and to focus on one to hopefully make it a little easier to digest. A big initiative for us coming kind of the post-Amazon world was how do we build a true tech ecosystem in Arlington, in Northern Virginia, and we're certainly working with other partners, but within Arlington, a core focus for us kind of in the next year or two is what can we substantially do to build an innovation economy that'll support entrepreneurs, and we'll see a lot more startup growth kind of following Amazon being here, kind of on the large corporate side. What else can we do to see smaller tech companies starting in Arlington and thriving?
Yeah.
So what we're hearing from those communities are they want more networking opportunities. The pandemic kind of killed off a few of the recurring events that were going on. So certainly dearth of opportunities for founders to talk to each other and learn from each other about the trials and tribulations of opening a tech startup. I know I was in the event last week, and one founder at the event met a few folks, and he was thrilled to finally have a chance to connect with folks like himself. So we're looking at how can we support more organizations to do events like that. So Arlington Economic Development, in terms of really helping the tech ecosystem and helping the entrepreneur, we're looking at partnering with organizations, both ones that exist locally that we can help expand some of their services. We're also looking at bringing in groups that do not already operate in the DC region as net new providers to entrepreneurs and founders. Really, the goal here is to help connect them with venture capital as they need to raise money to get off the ground. We're also looking to connect them in different convening opportunities to allow them to exchange ideas, learn from each other, and be prepared.
Yeah. Michael, thanks for joining the show. One last question for you. Just overall, you touched on a lot of things here, and so it may even be something you've already mentioned. But what should businesses really be looking for when they're looking for a place to locate their business?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and one we certainly are ready to answer. I think the main things you'll hear from companies as well as the site selectors and the brokers that represent them. The number one thing kind of remains talent and access to talent. That really drives the ability of a company to be successful, right? It's hiring the right person, especially if you're a young company. It's first few hires are key to your long-term success. So you need to find the right people. I think Arlington, Northern Virginia, DC region do extremely well in those areas. Arlington County is the most educated county in the country in terms of folks with bachelor's degrees and master's degrees. So I think going into the pandemic, access to talent was the number one issue, and that still remains it to this day. I think other items that kind of go along with that are quality of life, right? Your employees are going to want to live in a vibrant area that offers amenities, whether that's restaurants, outdoor activities, as well as, of course, a great school system for children of the employees. So I think again, Arlington, Northern Virginia really thrive in those areas, being a tremendous place to access diverse dining from around the world in terms of cuisines. Tremendous outdoor activities, whether it's kayaking on the Potomac near the monuments or going out Shenandoah and having some world-class hiking. And of course, on the school systems throughout Northern Virginia, these are some of the top-tier school systems in the country. So really, it's kind of that well-rounded amount of assets is a great reason to be in Arlington. And also say on the Virginia side, I guess there are companies, of course, are considering is kind of the financial burden of locating in a community and state. Virginia is viewed very well by publications as one of the most business-friendly states in the country. Most recently, we were ranked third in the country for business friendliness. But the prior 2 years, Virginia was back-to-back winners by CNBC as the top state to do business in the country. Virginia may not have the lowest corporate taxes in the country. Some states that have lower rates. However, I think we like to think here in Virginia that it might not be the lowest, but certainly perhaps you'll get the best bang for your buck or the most value for those taxes based on all the amenities I kind of listed before.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, again, I'd like to thank Michael Steifvater, Acting Director of Business Investment at Arlington Economic Development, for joining the show. You can learn more about Michael and Arlington Economic Development by following the links in the show notes.
Thanks again for listening to the Agile Brand with Greg Kihlstrom podcast, brought to you by Tech Systems. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to subscribe on your podcast channel of choice and leave us a rating so that others can find the show more easily. You can access more episodes of the show at www.gregkihlstrom.com. That's GREGKIHLSTROM.com. To get a copy of my latest book, House of the Customer, visit my website, or you can find it on Amazon or other retailers. The Agile Brand is produced by Missing Link, a Latina-owned, strategy-driven, creatively fueled production co-op. From ideation to creation, they craft human connections through intelligent, engaging, and informative content. Until next time, stay agile.